Do you feel like the Medusa is able to get to that stage? I know you're early on. We still haven't seen this last pick on Lilgun's side, but do they have ways that can maybe control the tempo, find stacks, make the space for the Medusa?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about keeping their towers alive, and I think partly why Medusa always feels like one of the better turtle heroes is because Medusa by herself is good at keeping towers alive. It's something that often teams who have turtle strats, they want like a Tide Hunter or an Underlord, something they can plop in front of a tower to keep it standing. That tanky hero that clears creeps and also just doesn't die. Medusa is that as the carry, but she's if they're pushing your tier 1 mid tower early, you just send Medusa there, throw out a Mystic Snake. She's high enough level, has Stone Gaze to bail herself out, Mana Shield to give tankiness. I think naturally Medusa always feels able to go late game, assuming your lanes don't get completely crushed. It's all about having 4 other heroes that really set the Medusa up for success. So I think they're lacking that kind of team fighting offlaner, that hero to start fights, that hero for the Invoker to play around, because Invoker doesn't want to play around Medusa until Medusa has 2 items like Mantiscati. Then you can start playing with Medusa, using the Alacrity on her and just sitting behind her while she, death bowls down lanes. Before that, Invoker's thinking we rely on these supports are going to be sitting behind me. Who's going in front of me? Who's going in first? Beastmaster gets banned. That would have been one option, but they need that, Mars Tide Hunter type hero, those both being banned, but something along those lines that's going to work for Mizu here.
In regards to Lilgun, I'm a big fan of how Nigma.SEA banned out the Razor. I think that's that anti-carry versus the Medusa, and also not as much of a win condition hero that you're needing here, because you have the Templar Assassin, someone who is able to play around the Ancients, get a majority of the farm, amplified with the Bloodlust, and then being on Radiant, you get early ages, take objectives, and then look to just suffocate Nigma.SEA and really just funnel all the net worth into the Medusa and be, that one core lineup that Lilgun can penalize here. So I think Razor was a perfect ban. Is there something else that kind of fills that niche that they need on Lilgun?
Yeah, I'm wondering who that might be. They maybe want something that answers the Medusa a bit. I think there's 2 options, really go all in on the early to mid game snowball over them. Or option 2 is you need a hero that pseudo counters the Medusa. If they could still had the option to go into the Invoker, like the Quaswex Invoker to burn Medusa's mana and be a playmaker to pair with a TA. You'd have to run TA safe lane, but the idea there is solid. You've got this TA that carries but doesn't deal with Medusa, and then you've got a mid laner that deals with Medusa. That Razor similar concept where it's this early mid game hero, but it deals with the Medusa to a certain extent with static lane, even though you're not out carrying Medusa. They ban OD. That's a kind of tempo hero. I think the easier approach for Lilgun is going for that, tempo hero, not worrying. There's nothing that's going to maybe hard counter Medusa this game unless you go double carry.
Monkey King.
So they go Medusa. They go for that, that kind of fairly tempo hero. It is a hero that could scale well on Medusa. Also, it's kind of an interesting matchup against Monkey because you're kind of very, stationary. Medusa's like this turret where you're not mobile. You're sitting there just holding your ground. And against a Monkey King, he's happy to fight you. Get those Jingu stacks. Wukong's command, great against Medusa. So in general, I always feel like Monkey King is a pretty good carry to play into Medusa.
Yeah, I think also it's a 23rd pick and you don't see Mizu's here at the moment. So now it really limits what Nigma.SEA can pick up, because you were asking for a hero to be in front of the Invoker, a teamfight initiator, some melee-esque, and picking that into a Monkey King Ogre it's pretty much a guaranteed losing lane. I just really struggle to see what Mizu can go for. We brought up the Chaos Knight. We're going to see it. I mean, I'm all for it. Mizu, again, he was playing it so much. First off, when he moved to the position 3 role, he loved it. Nigma.SEA, back then Galaxy Racer, they were playing it at a really high level. And then I haven't seen him play it since. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. Playing it into Monkey King doesn't sound the easiest, but at the same time, it's a hero that can maybe just hold his ground and fight better with some, built-in lifesteal. Pair that with a Weaver, like the minus armor from the bugs. This lane can theoretically be pretty strong. At the same time, Ogre Monkey, that just seems like an action-packed lane. I have no idea which way that lane's meant to go. In my head, it should be Ogre Monkey favored, but Monkey, it's just a hero who's received a lot of nerfs over the various patches. Jingu level 1 is nowhere near as strong as it used to be. I like this approach from Nigma.SEA. I think the heroes that counter the Monkey King are those Viper range type, pesky Veno type heroes, and those heroes wouldn't fit their draft. Instead of going for something that's going to the Invoker needs a hero to frontline, which is going to be the Chaos Knight. So you just kind of have to suck up and say, okay, this isn't the best versus Monkey King maybe, but it's better for our draft. And it's, going to, when we come mid-game time, feel a lot better to have a Chaos Knight than it would to have a Viper, for example.
Well, we've seen Nigma Galaxy time and time again. They've really favored these late game strategies with their draft, and they've gone exactly back for that with the Invoker on Alacrity, in your dream with the Medusa as well. We were asking the question if Lilgun, if they were going to go for these cheese strats, if they had any other pocket strats that they were able to pull out. Like you said, it's their last series of the DPC. May as well chuck everything on the line before the next meta and the next patch comes through. So how are we favoring this game one? Do you like Lilgun? Do you like Nigma Galaxy's lineup?
I mean, just looking at drafts by themselves, I would give a slight edge to Lilgun, I think.
Yeah.
I think ease of execution definitely favors them. I think just that kind of the simplicity of having a hero, like a Monkey King into the Chaos Knight, the TA into the Invoker, the ability to get a good Deso timing and then just take Roshan and methodically take objectives one by one. For Nigma Galaxy, it's a bit more of a, delicate situation where they can't afford to lose any bad fights. They're going to be the ones that should be on the back foot come mid game. They're going to be biding their time for Medusa to get farm and come online. So it's a bit harder for their game plan to work. They're kind of maybe relying on Lilgun making some mistakes, being a bit too over aggressive, but it is just a clash of styles, and it's always fun to see. It just feels nicer being in the Lilgun shoes because they're the ones who get to dictate the tempo of this game.
Yeah, and also it's going to be enabled with them being on Radiant. I mean, always this side has got the big advantage of finding Roshan, and they have such an incredible lineup, and already making sure this mid lane goes even better for Sanctity. Getting the D ward that will cost them their own ward, it looks like, but we also see it is going to be that X-Sword Invoker, so it's super greedy here from Nigma Galaxy, but you do have a lot of pickup potential. Lion with level 6 can kill multiple heroes across the map, even Mizu as well now with the Chaos Bolt. He's got that set up for the Sunstrike, so I'm really intrigued to see on how they can split up the map come 10 to 17 minutes and how they can really enable Alacrity for those kills.
Yeah. That seems like a big part of maybe why they won this Chaos Knight, is having this offlane hero with a guaranteed insta-stun, making it so that you can land these early Sunstrikes. That's something the Weaver doesn't really bring to the table. So if you want to go for this Exo Invoker, it's not as powerful if you don't have Sunstrike kill opportunities in the side lanes. Like, yeah, your mid lane can still go okay, and you can still, farm it up with this Midas rush, but it's going to be even better. You can put pressure on the enemy in the early game through those Sunstrikes.
Is the X-Sword Invoker maybe a little bit better than the Coswex Invoker versus the Templar Assassin, or is it still a very, very favorable matchup?
Both are rough. I think rough for different ways. The Exalt one, you can maybe, I'd say lasted a bit better. The Forward Spirits plus Cold Snap can be kind of nice. We're going to see early Sunstrikes to kind of secure some range creeps. At the same time, I honestly, I just don't know this matchup super well with the Exalt Invoker because it's not as common.
Yeah, we don't see it at all.
But the way it used to go is like Invoker needs to get up to his Forward Spirits and use the Forward Spirits with Cold Snap to kind of harass and burn through Refraction. But TA has the edge.
Yeah, we do have a lot of factors as well coming through from the supports being able to enable mid. I mean, Nigma Galaxy are always looking to make rotations. You've got the Lion that can potentially do that. Even Weaver, maybe just looking to take away some of the water runes to dwindle the resources on the Templar Assassin. As we do take a look at the Weaver's lane at the moment, this was kind of the lane we weren't too sure of how it would fare. Usually a Monkey King and Ogre should beat any lane matchup, but a Chaos Knight and a Weaver really strong as well. It's looking pretty even at the moment, though.
Yeah. And it's something Lilgun probably already talked about, is like remembering this is not a 2v2 lane. There's that kind of third hero, the Invoker, who can throw those Sunstrikes in. Probably Sanctity is going to be like telling his teammates about whether, if Sunstrike's on cooldown from killing a creep or if he's just low mana, then you're a lot safer. Top lane, they're looking for some early pressure.
Yeah, they might find the kill here, and they will. Kishka, very nicely done with the help of 11 Spirit Breaker. They just got that early level 2 to close the distance, and when I first saw the draft on Lilgun, I was a little bit worried that maybe the damage might be lacking. A Rubik, Spirit Breaker, Ogre. If you have a rougher time in the lanes and fall behind in levels, you could really heavily rely on the TA, but already a great start.
Take what I please.
Yeah, I think this top lane should do okay, just because Lion, for all the positives of this hero, the lane stage itself is not one of this hero's strengths. It's not like a terrible laner, but it's not comparable to the Bane, the Weaver, the Ogre. Lion is, you're picking it for what it brings to the table in the mid game with all the lockdown and control. So it should be a pretty good lane for Spirit Breaker, even though Medusa's a generally kind of tough for Spirit Breaker with that Mystic Stank Harass. But so far, so good.
Bottom lane, they're going to get the kill on Ace 12. Mizu and Yokam continuing to brawl as don't even need the help of the Sunstrike here. You see a double bracer at the moment from Mizu, so really looking to go for the tanky build early. And something that we were seeing when Mizu was playing the Chaos Knight was he was going Midas every single game. Do you feel like that's going to be similar here, or is that just way, way too greedy?
It sounds a bit greedy going from if they're going for double like Midas on CK and Invoker with a Medusa. I feel like he just wants to fight and tank up more, maybe as his role. The same time, maybe he has this idea of playing Chaos Knight with Midas, and that's kind of gonna be the style for Nigma Galaxy where they go late game. But double bracer into like this magic wand, maybe you would get a Soul Ring for some mana sustain. I think just go like rushing a BKB even sounds alright to me, but. At the same time, you're into TA Monkey, so it's a lot of physical damage. Maybe Halberd has a lot of value this game. I just think Midas sounds a bit greedy with Medusa Invoker.
Yeah, it feels like he just has a completely different role to fill this game instead of scaling into some, position 2, I suppose. As top 11's going to look to charge on forward. Nigma Galaxy.SEA, they've kind of overstepped the mark here, but a quick Hex will thwart back the attempt, but they'll in fact turn their attention to In Your Dream, so able to cut through the trees as the Medusa's A-OK.
So Medusa getting at least space to farm pretty well in this top lane, but none of the lanes being convincingly won at this point in time. It feels like all 3 lanes are at least having a bit of a farm trade and even exchange. Mid lane, a lot of Psyblades harass on Alacrity, but he's got the 3 points in Quas, so he can easily sustain himself in this lane. He's done a good job securing runes, and that's something that the Exort Invoker with Forward Spirits is surprisingly good at, because you can run to one side to grab a water rune while sending your Forward Spirit to the other to deny the rune. I saw Alacrity doing this a lot last time he played Invoker. He even sends the Forward Spirit in to deny bounty runes sometimes, so having these summons can be very useful for rune control.
Yeah, maybe even just not having to bring extra resources to mid as well, keeping Polison to protect In Your Dream, or then maybe enabling Yokam to make some stacks at the Ancients just to really further the Medusa's farm.
Yep. Well, yeah, we'll see whether or not any of these Nigma Galaxy supports make any early moves. For now, they're pretty tied to these lanes. Like, I don't think Medusa, particularly low health, low mana, doesn't want this line leaving. And down bottom, it's Monkey King. If Chaos Knight gets left alone at any point, I feel like...
Yeah, they're going to go, actually.
He's in trouble.
Okay. Mizu still holding the stun. They've got this detection for Yokam. Is he going to tick out to the Bloodlust? He's got the 1 charges to keep him healthy. Now, Ace 12's actually continuing to move on forward. They've always got to be cautious about this Sunstrike. It does have 3 points in the Exort, so won't tickle him by any stage.
Yep. Yeah, he's even invoked to that Sunstrike, so he's got it up. He's ready to cast if a opening presents itself on these side lanes, and I imagine he's making that call, like 3 points in Exort. He wants to be shooting that off and getting kills for his team, ideally for himself, not for his team, but he'll settle for the assists.
So again, Weaver's in trouble. They haven't been able to win the Battle of the Centuries, and it might cost Yokam his life with the extra point in the Ignite. Chase down the pesky little bug, but he's got a Fairy Fire still to work around with. You just see the resources heavily expended down bottom. Surprised we haven't got as many kills, though.
Yeah, I guess the Chaos Knight's super tanky with this double brace. I was clicking the monkey, like, he looked bloodlusted. He was attacking so fast. He's gone double Wraithband. Like,
oh, wow.
I'm like, how is this monkey so strong? Like, and attacking so fast, but double Wraithband will do it.
Wait.
Not your everyday carry build. This is like carry build from 3 years ago.
Do you like
double,
that?
triple. It's very, like, their strat seems to be kind of early mid-game centric. It's like this, I want to win my lane kind of build. Or maybe sometimes you go up because you don't want to lose your lane. He might be worried that Chaos Knight Weaver with Sunstrikes can potentially put pressure on him. So I don't mind it. It will, slow down some of his itemization growth, but he's not going for that greedy Battle Fury build.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be seeing like Echo Saber BKB type build.
Top lane, Kishka. Couple more right clicks. Nice use of the telekinesis drag back though. Find a double stun. Sunstrike! Oof, just off the mark. There's that first attempt of the game. They would love it now with the help to bring down 11 thanks to Polison's setup. It looks like another tanky hero in the Spirit Breaker. And we continue the action down bottom as 1, 2, 3. Still, we're really actually not seeing them commit on the Monkey King. Every time Mizu's chucking out a stun, Yokem the bugs, and they're just happy with the little poke and prod they're doing.
Yeah, bugs are so annoying in lane. You gotta, especially if you get both heroes with them, you suddenly gotta hit each bug 4 times to get rid of them, and you don't want to fight with the bug on you with all the minus armor. Mizu just sustaining himself with the Chaos Strike. He is pushing them back, so even though Nigma Galaxy weren't getting those kills like in top lane, that's a lot of like forcing the enemy out of lane and while you're free farming is always a win, even if you're not getting a kill. So Nigma Galaxy
we
with
might
the
have a
greedier
kill
draft
now. Biz just going to try and charge up the Phantasm. There's the Sunstrike finally, but it's off the mark. They don't find the connection. Now with a deep dive attempt, 4-2-3. He's had the opportunity to find the Jingu stacked, but still battling against Mizu. He'll get the kill thanks to the extra health in the 1, but he can't find Ace 12 as well for the prize. Simultaneously top lane in your dream. Getting dived under the tower. They're going to utilize the glyph here just to further enable this attempt. And now that 11 has the level 6, there'll be no escape for Polison. It's Lilgun winning the trade across the map.
Really nicely done, not drawing tower aggro, getting the kill with the Nether Strike set up, and down bottom, just, yeah, unfortunately the Sunstrike a little bit off the mark meant that they had to overcommit underneath the tower, and losing 2, even though they get the Monkey King there, the Ogre is just so... He's suddenly almost level 7 on Ogre. Like, having multicast this early on, his damage output is actually pretty scary.
Oh, he will give a lot of experience away at the moment.
Yeah.
No way! Oh, the amount of times I've seen someone get so close to denying. Just frame off, and now bottom. This time the Sunstrike's on the mark. Polison, the extra rotation. Something I was actually hoping to see with that previous catapult movement, but because of In Your Dream getting dived, they didn't have that available. They've completely evacuated away from top.
Yeah. And it's a kind of a good synchronized move where, like, the line TPing bottom, it only works if Medusa has already left top lane. Because if Medusa's showing top, they're charging in instantly, and they're probably just killing In Your Dream. But he's already gone to the jungle. Something that Kishka realizes. He's like, okay, they're going to ditch this lane. Medusa must be in the jungle. Let's go find him and set up a charge. They want this kill.
Damage lacking at the moment.
Damage. Yeah.
But that, you're okay with that though. You're really putting pressure on the Medusa, and she's not freely farming. Whereas compared to the Templar Assassin, we've seen Sanctity hit top of the net worth. He's been able to go back, clear mid, farm up some of the triangle. I didn't see them put a lot of emphasis on creating stacks for the TA, but at least importantly, they haven't got those camps blocked.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's TA is probably just being told, hey, you got to stack for yourself. You know, we're busy, we're fighting, we're trying to win this early game and pressure the Medusa in her jungle, not let her just freely farm stacks. And with the way they built on some of these heroes like the Monkey King going for treads, double Wraithband, they want to take all these early towers. Taking top, and particularly this mid tier 1 early, would give Lilgun a huge advantage in terms of controlling the map, invading that enemy jungle. Ideally, the Ancients in the triangle of the Medusa to really limit what Nigma Galaxy can do in terms of farm.
Well, they will get a free pickoff on Yokem. I think the ward from Radiant on the high ground just scouting out the Weaver going to the tree line there. So been able to at least even up the towers early on. Feels like it's really going to come down to how Lilgun can find their way to bring down this tier 1 mid. Because once you get that tower, it's just so much easier to start to open up the map against the greedy lineup that Nigma Galaxy have.
Bottom lane.
11.
Spirit Breaker gets initiated on. They had the Sunstrike. I don't know if they've got the damage, though.
Mizu's actually not going to attempt a deeper dive, and well, he'll be penalized for this. Spirit Breaker turning back around. The assistance from Ace 12. It's almost level 8. My god, this is a very high level here on the Ogre. Dream's going to provide some assistance. They've got the Finger of Death as well. They'll be able to turn it back around as Ace 12 oversteps the mark a bit too far.
Yeah, maybe thinking that if Lions alone, Spirit Breaker can charge back in, but 11 was like, I'm headed back to base. If I charge in and get hit by an Earth Spike, or just that Finger of Death could have gone to his way. So definitely can't blame the Spirit Breaker there, and just getting a bit greedy. This Ogre, he's having such a good game when you're level 8 already. I mean, he's 1-3, but the fact he got that solo kill down bottom just gave him such a big experience boost to have a better mid game with, you know, all these levels. So we'll see how things go here. By the way, Rubik's stolen Sunstrike. That is a sick spell to have this early on.
Yeah, I'd actually really like to see them make a smoke play, because it's a ridiculous amount of damage that you'd expect. But it'll be Dire that's making the movement top. Monkey soon to reveal. You know, he's actually going to jump in the lane here, so now instantly Dire will turn their attention, but Yokam, he's just setting up the trap. As soon as it's sprung, they'll miss the Sunstrike, but there's plenty of damage left in the tank to blow him up. And when we say instantly Lilgun, they're going to look to smoke. They recognize that Dire. They put a lot of their forces top. This will leave the Medusa vulnerable.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
DK has an illusion he's sending out, though.
Oh, no.
Nice pay.
Now, they still get the vision on you in your dream. Power treads with the Dragon Lance, but they've already burnt the mana. And now with the Sunstrike getting dropped down as well. Rubik securing the kill before he dies, but they've infiltrated too far into Nigma Galaxy's territories. They'll penalize the Spirit Breaker. Yokam's even looking for more, though, but the stuns, unless Polison can get in range.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, Lilgun, I think, just trying to do a little too much with not enough resources. Like, the way they're splitting around the map, like having the Monkey alone top and going for that move with just the 3 heroes while TA is farming, like, the Ancients and stuff. It's just that little bit too greedy, because Nigma Galaxy are kind of recognizing that, okay, they're making plays and they're doing it with not enough heroes. Like, if they do that play at the Ancients with 4 heroes, Nigma Galaxy probably don't react. They let the Medusa die and farm elsewhere, but they recognize, okay, they don't have numbers. We can go and punish this. We can take advantage of the fact Medusa took a while to bring down and get some cleanup kills.
It is definitely going to be scary, though, with Sanctity already having Deso. He's, I think, about 100 gold actually away from the last Mithril Hammer, but once he's able to complete this, then Roshan becomes pretty free with the tier 1 mid almost down as well. And that's that big timing that Lilgun are looking for to then look to continue to invade the jungle.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep making these big moves here. And yeah, with BKB plus the Deso, like the Roche taking potential, the fighting potential, like Lilgun are going to have all the tools they need to just keep on running at Nigma Galaxy, who are going to take some time. Like this Medusa particularly, like may finish a Manta in the next kind of 4 or 5 minutes, but that's not enough to really fight with by itself. You need that second item, typically the Skadi, to really get the beefiness from the stats as well as like the slow and the kiting potential before you're fully ready to fight.
Yeah, I mean, we were speaking about the stacks earlier with regards that TA didn't really get any assistance, but it was also Medusa not really getting too much help as well with her own stack. So a lot's been put in her hands to find the farm, but for Radiant now, Roshan, it has been scouted out. So Dire, that they've got the awareness this is occurring. I don't know if they can contest it though.
Yeah, I think at some point it's just like a free Roche for Lilgun. They may need to do a bit more to push out some of these lanes first, but they seem content to just try and force it. Maybe, I mean, if anything, it's almost like you're daring your opponents to come and fight, because if they're confident in their ability to win a team fight, they almost want Nigma Galaxy to come and contest this, which is just not going to happen. It's kind of just, you know, they read the writing on the wall. This is a free, uncontested Roche. Let's just keep sticking to our game plan, and Aegis doesn't really change much. Like, they're going to still try and pressure these tier 1 and tier 2 towers. We may have to defend them using our Medusa, but we'll see how much Lilgun can get at this age. They're still behind on gold despite having this Aegis.
That is one thing I've been very impressed with Nigma Galaxy throughout the entirety of the DPC, with how they're able to recognize, actually hold that thought, bottom lane, Sunstrike, it's off the mark, but the Finger of Death from Polison will provide the burst potential to blow up 11. You know, Mizu, he does have to commit the Phantasm for that, but yeah, any extra kill, that's 30 seconds without the full roster, and now they're going to look mid him as well. Maybe just forcing some resources, but now Alacrity's in trouble. They'll drop the cube on his head. Bye-bye, Invoker.
Yeah, nice find. That was a bit greedy, I think, trying to... I don't know what they were really even trying to do. TA perhaps thinking they could, like, just poke and prod at the Aegis, maybe get a free Aegis snipe, but Invoker just pressing forward a bit too much here. Before I was going to comment, Nigma Galaxy are doing a really good job of, like, stopping the full Death Ball from, like, running over them. The way they're doing it is just going for a lot of these, like, quick pickoffs. Like, when you're playing against this team that wants to, like, really dominate the early to mid game and have this kind of, like, you know, get Aegis, take towers one by one, any pickoff opportunity you always want to capitalize on, because, you know, it's downtime for heroes, where suddenly that's 30 seconds where they can't just 5 men down a lane or really take over the map. So Nigma Galaxy finding the kills has been really valuable for them, and then they're using that time where heroes are dead to farm. They're not trying to take towers. They've only taken one tier 1 tower. They know their lineup is not meant to push or take objectives until much later on. Right now, they're just trying to prioritize resource gathering.
They're looking to maybe trade the tier 1 mid for tier 2 top at the moment. Lilgun, they actually might be able to take that tower and come back to defend it, which is going to be a very big success.
Yeah, Lilgun's kind of the other story. They're the ones who don't want to give up objectives for free. Charge coming through. We're just on a creep here as they push back Nigma.
It's actually going to blink on forward, reveals it now. 11. So with the charge on cooldown, so just not using some of their abilities in coordination from Lilgun.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Polison still might be in trouble though. They're going to look to smoke behind the Templar Assassin. 11. He'll lead in the charge straight on top of the line. That's a lot of the control if they can get rid of him to start the fight. They will do so. I mean, 4-2-3 does have to pop the BKB for it.
Heads up from Alacrity just to go into that Ghost Walk. So even though Monkey King can chase him over the trees, he does not have the detection to see the Invoker. So that was a lot used just to get that Lion there. He kind of saw and knew that Spirit Breaker was coming. They 4-man smoked under a ward, so it was very much a telegraph move. And something Lilgun kind of lack is that, like, that clean, easy catch. Like, maybe a Blink Rubik later on, but Rubik's not a hero you really want blinking on the front lines. And Spirit Breaker, Charge is kind of that initiation, but there's a lot of tools to cancel it. The Tornado, the Earth Spike, the Hex. We see there, when he's got the Shadow Blade, if you can catch him by surprise, there's potential for an initiation, but sometimes getting that good, easy follow-up is not going to be quite as fluid.
It's tier 2. Looks like it might just go down for free. Mizu has the Shadow Blade though, so looking for the reveal. They might know someone's nearby. Look at the side blade damage. Mizu all of a sudden half health, so now he's kind of thinking twice, but Sanctity's not. Jumped straight on in. Look at the Rubik's Cube. The damage! Kishka! He's stolen some exceptional abilities, but that spellcasting was on point. Mizu brought down under the tier 2 tower and 4 evaporate. The Death Ball is online.
Oh boy, they're going to be having Rubik's Cube nightmares after that one. That is huge, and 20 minutes in. We talked about how Lilgun want this game to go, and one of the best ways to play against Medusa, it's this 20-minute high ground. This is what they did against Ragdoll. That game was with a Lycan. This time around, they say, TA, Monkey, these heroes can do the same thing. We just go into a fast BKB, fast Desto, get an Aegis, and we're ready. Lane of full racks at 20 minutes in. That is huge for Lilgun.
Someone hit it. Someone hit it. There you go.
There we go. Full racks.
My God, what a Rubik's Cube. Kishki's just been having an exceptional game, and now just the pressure that it puts on the map. You've constantly got a lane shoved in this early on. With all this vision that you're able to provide, you can just pick heroes off. Spirit Breaker with Shadow Blade, Monkey King setting up in the tree line, the farm. It's really all we're going to see is the Medusa getting the farm, but I don't even know if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. I was expecting this man to come a few minutes ago. It does feel, you know, in your dreams being pressured. This is what happens when you lose your early towers. You lose a lot of access to the farm you want on the map. And like these item times just coming up a little bit slower can have a kind of domino effect on the game where suddenly that fight could be a bit different if there's Manta style illusions and there's a bit of extra escape. But charge in top. Alacrity.
Oh, look at the range. Already so far away was the telekinesis. They've already got the vision on where Alacrity's positioning. But they have detection though.
Spirit Breaker.
Oh, okay. Here comes the Rubik. Oh, they still know he's nearby because of the Ghost Walk. Just needs to make sure he closes the distance. They get it? Yes, they do. The dust is there. It's been all Rubik this game. It helps out. We saw the meatball previously. Gets the kill on the Lion. Now sets up with the dust. And look at them go. Instant TP's bottom.
Oh boy, and Jokam may just run into this one. They do have, they don't have any detection. Ogre's got 1 sentry at the outpost, so unless he runs into that, it should be okay. Mizu just trying to set up some Sunstrike opportunities, but it's a dead Invoker, so he's like something like, oh wait a second, I can't really Shadow Blade him for kills without that Sunstrike, so backs off back to safety and charges found Weaver.
Bro, Yokam, I mean, how many deaths we got at the moment? It's You're looking real grim. You know, Weaver's that pesky beg, but oh, maybe the pesky bog's actually out to safety this time.
This Spirit Breaker needs a gem or some dust.
You know, Mizu might need
There
some
we go. He
assistance
finds
though.
double dust.
By the triangle, Sanctity and Rubik doing by themselves. Killing spree here for the Templar Assassin, and
Are as one.
you know, from kills to objectives they go.
Yeah, they see these towers down bottom, and they're strong enough that they can still keep pushing without an Aegis, but they can't really push high ground. So going for these bottom outer towers, using that second Roshan to go for the next lane of Rax or force a fight. Nigma Galaxy probably going to feel like they have to contest next Roshan. It's going to be Shard with Aegis, so we'll see how they look to play the next kind of 4 or 5 minutes of this game. Well, really the next couple of minutes, because Roshan can be respawning in 40 seconds time, so not knowing when it respawns means Nigma Galaxy are going to have to get out on the map if they want to stop Lilgun getting another free Aegis.
I guess they have decent ways to scout. Like you can bugs in, maybe if you want to force a Sunstrike. If Deuce is in a position where you send out the Manta illusions. Alacrity? I mean, after the almost higher ground area, but Sanctity, with the help of the team, is just able to burst it down freely. A position you'd expect to be safe enough, but Lilgun, they sense a sign of weakness, and they're very good at penalizing.
Yeah. Honestly, Sanctity.SEA has been super impressive. I mean, he's master tier on the hero. I think it was like level 28. He's a very experienced TA, but he's willing to put himself in like the kind of risky positions to set his team up for success and to make plays. Like that mid Rubik's Cube was set up by him just blinking in somewhat blindly. Like he has the traps to scout, see some heroes, and then just blinks in. He knows he's going to get stunned up and maybe bursted down. He had an Aegis, so he just loses the 1 life. But when he's got all that damage and control behind him, it's the perfect way to approach these fights when, you know, they don't maybe have the best hero to initiate with.
You see how difficult it is just to get out on the map with Monkey King scouting. You've got the traps, you've got a potential Spirit Breaker charging you in Shadow Blade, which you don't know. I mean, Rubik's got a lot of catch potential, soon to be Blink completed. I'm really struggling to see how they're going to find farm.
Yeah, and you just never know if a TA trap is on you unless you're playing by all your sentries. But, you know, there's only so many sentries that Pelosin can get up for the team. So if a trap scouts you, it can set up a charge. Monkey just hops around the map. TA blinks around the map. You know, Rubik can kind of show up with a TP or whatever it may be. It's so dangerous to just play Dota if you're a Nigma Galaxy core that's trying to get farm.
Yeah, and it just feels like Lilgun recognized their individual roles this game. 4-2-3, not going for the kind of win condition-esque item build. You know, Diffusal Blade, BKB is, you know, we actually are going to have Nigma Galaxy make one of their first aggressive moves in quite some time. Roshan's up. They're not going to let this go for free.
Has been killed.
Yeah, they've made them smoke out. Sunstrike's there to scout it too. Gotta imagine Lilgun don't want to get caught in the pit here. CK preemptively ultis. This will give them some nice scouting, but it is something that Lilgun can kind of just wait out. I don't imagine they're going to look to fight into Nigma Galaxy. If anything, they'd rather just pressure out some of these lanes and force Nigma Galaxy back or get a clean initiation.
This is going to be cautious here. Charge in simultaneous as well. Spirit Breaker instantly jump in the backline, setting up for 4-2-3's Boundless. They have to pop the BKBs defensively to evacuate away from the Wukong's command, but the Medusa won't be as fortunate as all the men are completely burnt away. But in your dream, it's actually going to look to stand the ground and bring down the Monkey King, but won't be fortunate enough as Nigma Galaxy lose 4. Almost felt like the last-ditched attempt there.
Alacrity will TP out. Unfortunately, misses the Sunstrike that may have finished off 4-2-3, and that should set up Lilgun to get themselves an easy Roshan. That fight, there's just too many BKBs. Like, triple BKB on Radiant, they can just force any fight they want. And the damage in a BKB with Medusa just having the 1 item in the Manta style, no Scotty yet, is just, it's too low. Like, CK, you know, kind of that physical damage hero as well, but with the farm that, you know, Mizu's got, he's an offlaner. He's not meant to be farmed, but it just feels like he can't really do much in these fights because he's a CK and he's has to just be tanky in frontline, but that's just not something that CK excels at. So, great fight for Lilgun, and they're not done. They take an Aegis. They're going to probably press forward and look for that second lane of Rax now.
This is definitely where we're seeing kind of the issue of going for Mizu's hero really later in the draft come into play. Like without the Tide or the Mars, or just without the hero to be the team fight initiator, their way back in this game is very awkward. They were playing off the back of getting a ridiculous amount of pickoffs, you know, feeding the beast in alacrity and then making space. But now when you're this far behind, it really feels like you don't have an angle back in.
Yeah, it's very kind of, you know, starve them out a bit if you're Lilgun, but at the same time, they're not just sitting back and, you know, keeping them in their base. They're looking to press forward and go for that killing blow, but knowing that with the vision they have...
He's trying to backstab at the moment. They've done a lot of damage on TA. Force out a BKB from 11, so small victory.
Yeah, you got a little antsy there. Definitely didn't need to use it, but just, you know, playing it cautiously. Mizu trying to come in from the side here, but for Lilgun, they're just doing things the safe way. They've got a gem queued up on the Rubik. That's going to be a nice little, not a total game changer, but it's something that just makes their lives a lot easier when you're playing into Weaver plus this Shadow Blade. I mean, even the Ghost Walk can be kind of annoying. This is going to give them full map control, deward everything, and they just don't have to rely on playing around all their sentries as much. Because right now they have full eyes. Nigma Galaxy have these dire wards all over Lilgun. That's the crazy thing, is they have vision, but they're so weak that they just can't fight them even with the superior vision.
Yeah, I felt like that was the one attempt where, okay, we've got really good wards in the backline. We see everyone at the moment. But now with the gem picked up, the map is going to go completely dark, and Sanctity, this will give him now an opportunity to start to siege the high ground.
Uses the traps to get vision, force that glyph. This is just TA things. Like, you hit this timing in the mid game with Deso, BKB, Blink, and he's got a Daedalus on top of that too. That's how good his game's gone. He's 10k net worth ahead of the Medusa almost. It is an insane lead for Sanctity and Lilgun as a whole.
If Drusa can get Scardy, I mean, we're on some copium, but it's great for high ground defense.
Philosopher's Stone Medusa. There's a chance. He's getting a lot of gold.
Let's go.
That is a sad sight. Honestly, that is a really sad sight. I don't think I've ever seen a Philosopher's Stone Medusa until this game.
I mean, it just signals how far behind they are. They're not even going to defend a second full barracks. They're like, okay. Like, yes, late game's scary. Yeah. Exort Invoker with the Medusa, but they're all on bottom now. Kishka is going to jump in. The disarm's out of the perfect timing, so they're unable to blow up the Invoker at the moment, but 11 charging in full. The Chaos is online, and Apollos in the next on the agenda. Lions going to look to buy back, see if they can get any retribution with Mizu. The backstab as well, but he hasn't got any extra damage to blow up 11. And our Stone Gaze is out from In Your Dream as well. With the study completed, it's going to slowly drag back Ace 12, but they're still playing into the hands of the Ages. Now Mizu needs help. Paulison will look to jump in, but they don't have the burst for 11 at the moment with the Finger of Death just off the timer. But In Your Dream is getting a relatively free fight. He's been able to bring down the Ages. The Chaos around the Medusa is enabling Nigma Galaxy at the moment as they drag back the Monkey King. A successful fight for them. It costs them multiple buybacks. They need to get more out of it, especially after the objective damage. But it looks like Sanctity and Co will escape.
They keep their melee barracks alive, though. Unfortunately, yeah, getting a bit more out of it, killing the TA or stealing the gem. Ogre managed to rescue the gem in the middle of the fight when Rubik died. That would have been really nice for Nigma Galaxy, but, you know, we half joked, you know, the Scotty, it is a game changer. Medusa, the second the Scotty is completed at that side shop, TP's in and is ready to defend, just runs in with that Stone Gaze. Philosopher's Stone Medusa. It actually, I can't believe it somewhat worked out there.
Wow. I mean, they do have great ways to enable In Your Dream, like Alacrity with him, Alacrity with Alacrity. If he gets level 20 talent, you've got the bugs as well, which is a big issue. Yorkham's got Aghanim's too, which I have to imagine was just completed. So this, the play, what they need to rely on for Nigma Galaxy is Lilgun. They've got a very heavy committal lineup. Spirit Breaker's going to charge in, TA's going to jump, Monkey's going to jump in, lay down the Wukongs. And if you can survive that burst and then force them to turn back around, then we'll see the Skadi and then we'll see the acceleration really pay dividends here on a defense.
Yep. No, absolutely. The Ag's time-lapse makes their defense just that little bit stronger, and it makes it harder for Lilgun to really hard commit on anybody. The TA is not going to really, you know, as recklessly just jumping in on somebody. They do want to get this melee racks, feeling like they can maybe force it with their BKBs, but they've got to be a little bit careful. They force Nigma Galaxy back. They see all these TPs, and they may just say, okay, let's back off to farming. We, it wasn't quite what we wanted, but forcing them to play as 5 in their own base is still that mini victory. They're going away from the let's really try and get racks to let's now try and, out farm them and keep them in their base.
Ooh, I love this part.
Did they repurchase the gem? I thought Dyer picked it up after that fight.
I think Ogre rescued it.
Okay.
So Rubik died, and then Ogre, or he passed it to the Rubik at some point, but the Ogre had it after the Rubik was dead.
That is definitely a big thing, because, again, Dyer, they're known for this comeback potential, this late game-esque where they can just win games off the back of nothing, and small victories of having a gem, maybe taking a fight underneath the vision advantage could be the way back in as Sanctity. See
That's
Mizu.
a real CK. I don't think I thought they probably thought it was an illusion with how much damage it took from that first right click.
Yeah, they got the detection as well. Mizu needs some assistance. The disarm is there, but it's not fast enough. Is now in your dream. Needs to look to get some assistance out of the Wukong's command as well. Yorken just gets in range for the Aghanims. Stone Gaze used. They have been able to turn the Rubik to stone. Monkey King's falling exceptionally low as well, but they're unable to get into the middle of the fight at the moment. Still, Sanctity has been able to cleave down the Weaver, and now also the Lion as well as, godlike at the moment for the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the downsides and nerfs to just Weaver with this Axe, we've seen fewer and fewer Axe purchases, is that cast range. He has to run right into the Wukong's command. Bails the Medusa out, allowing her to run out of it with the Stone Gaze, but everything was used defensively on the Nigma Galaxy side. Once that CK gets blown up to start the fight, everyone is just scrambling to try and get out and save their own lives. At no point were they really using spells offensively outside of Lion trying to kill the Monkey King with the Earth Spike plus Finger combo, which just wasn't enough damage. If Medusa was able to deal damage with the Stone Gaze, it could have been a whole different fight. Nigma need to find a way to take a fight where they're actually pressing forward and not just running away. That's why they smoked into Lilgun, but this game's suddenly falling apart.
Mega creeps soon to be on the agenda. One more barracks up top being the melee. Nigma Galaxy, they're about to have all their heroes back alive, so at least they will be able to mount a defense. Monkey King might be in some trouble. BKB pop, they're going to look to charge on forward. Mizu's trying to deal with the backline, but there's the time lapse. Medusa gets the mana, refresh along with the health, and now Radiant, they're committed inside the fight, and it's going to be the consequence of 423's life, along with 11. Maybe this is a sign of comeback here from Nigma Galaxy, but they have got to go up against the Megas. A triple for in your dream. Whoa! Sanctity! Relax, my guy. I know you're 10-0 and 8. It's all been your game so far, but you gotta just give them some breathing room.
Yeah, this Paul just casually one-shots a Weaver, walks away and says, "Okay, we got Megas. Oh, my team's dead. No problem." That was, a hold of sorts going up against the Mega Creeps. Medusa, one of the better heroes to have on your side if you're going to be in that situation. And off of that fight, In Your Dream suddenly has 5k gold. Aghanims is queued up. I'm curious to see if he, decides, screw it, I need a rapier or something. Desperate times, desperate measures and all that. But the big issue for Nigma Galaxy is they would love an early Roshan respawn. If they could have gotten that, Rosh number 3 with an Aghanims, a free Ags for this Medusa, that would have been massive for them. But they don't get lucky with the respawn.
He's got to go for it, right? Is there a way back in without the rapier?
I don't think so. DD would have been nice, but great vision control. He's using the traps so well. I think that's been the most impressive thing watching Sanctity TA is, when you look at the minimap, you just see these traps laid out all over the maps in key locations at the top of ramps. So there are these locations where basically Nigma Galaxy have to walk over a lot of these spots, whether it's farming ancients, ramps, rune control is a big one because a DD rune can have such a high impact. So the vision game has been just so hard for Nigma Galaxy to play.
Oh, Roche just gets obliterated as soon as it respawns. And now this is the Ages, Cheese, and Aghanims. They're going to give the Aghanims actually to 11.
New treasures.
Okay. I don't mind that. The Ag Spirit Breaker with the charge cooldown. And
there we go. He's going for it. Rapier on In Your Dream.
It just feels like he has to. I don't see any other way to win this game. You can't just be thinking about okay, how do we, maybe defend and win one fight. You got to be thinking about long term. How do you beat Mega Creeps? And there's no scenario beating Mega Creeps without a Rapier Medusa. I mean, crazily enough, I just looked at the win probability. They have 6% win probability. That's pretty damn good considering they're down Mega Creeps.
It's always a Medusa lineup though, right? Like, Gavin, you see someone like this, maybe Rapier also bumps it up a little bit as well, and who do you have to jump here for Dire? What's that key target you're looking to burst down to start? I mean, they'll make it go on Sanctity. Maybe if they can chain control him, they need to get rid of the refraction, which is a big issue. He's being disarmed at the moment, outside the range of the Wukong, so Sanctity is going to be okay, but all eyes on In Your Dream. Time-lapse, give him the space. The Chi's going to be eaten as well for 4-2-3. Alacrity's going to look to jump in. They're doing their best to control Sanctity at the moment, with the BKB on cooldown. In Your Dream's damage really ramping up with that extra item. They brought down two of the supports, and Sanctity's committed deep underneath the T4 towers. They've dealt with the first life. And with 11's charging back in, 4-2-3's nearby as well, but he won't have an opportunity for the refraction. Nigma GoDz, what's going on? 3 kills, they get rid of the Aegis advantage, and they stall this game.
How they doing it? That's a big bounty. Alacrity gets on his Invoker, 1,000 gold for it. Great. Oh man, I saw the teamfight recap. I was like, how good was it? It's like 0 gold. But experience, also not that great, but they hold. It's the mental victories, and Nigma GoDz showing that it can be done with this Rapier Medusa. They also fold up. They take some towers. They get that T1 mid tower finally. It's their second tower of the game. It's something. It's baby steps towards bringing this game back. The Alacrity Rapier Medusa showing it can be done, and that if Weaver can keep getting these good time lapses, you've got to, protect your Medusa. If she's having a Wukong's command dropped on her, that's going to burn through her mana pool. It's going to just threaten her a lot. You've got to make sure this Weaver stays alive, positions well in the backlines, and gets these good time lapses off.
I'm a huge fan of this item pickup from Yokem, heading into the Aeon Disc, because just like you say, this game feels like, yes, we're putting a lot of emphasis on the Rapier, on the Medusa, but you're enabled to stand your ground because you have this capability of Weaver giving you that second opportunity. So now it's up to the side of Lilgun on how you can burn that Aeon discharge and then look to reset and jump the Weaver afterwards.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see how they approach this one on the Lilgun side. I mean, they've got a lot of good catch, I feel like. We've seen them use the Boundless Strike to initiate and set up a charge. Telekinesis can be cast from like a mile away. So it is a very tough game for this Weaver. Yeah, the Aeon Disc will help, but if they ever find a way just to poke and prod and force the Aeon Disc out, he's public enemy #1. I think they're learning, like, in the earlier fights, they could prioritize and focus this Medusa because of how good Monkey Wukong is at kind of fighting under where the Medusa wants to plant herself. But with a Weaver time-lapse, that's kind of changed the equation a bit.
City on Sanctity is Radiant. Gonna smoke his fall, looking to maybe catch someone off guard, and that will be Mizu. Spidey senses tingling. Is that enough opportunity? Now, even Kishka's inside the base. They've been able to steal the Phantasm, though, which is the Aghanim, so he gets a little bit of Dispel. But now they're targeting down 11 on the Spirit Breaker. The damage from the Medusa, not enough just yet. He's able to disjoint the last couple of right clicks. They've also forced out a very early use of the time-lapse too, but Sanctity, I mean, can you man-fight Dusa at the moment? In Your Dream, he's feeling A-okay to battle it out at the moment. The men are slowly getting Dream. Time-lapse is still on cooldown. They need to protect him for an extra couple of seconds, and they'll do just that. Sanctity now, the next on the agenda, is going to try and stand his ground and man-fight, but again, Nigma GoDz will keep the Dusa alive and live to survive another day.
That's the big fight. That's the 5k gold swing, 6,000 experience swing, and just keeping the Dusa alive just barely. And it feels like Lilgun is just getting a little bit baited by some of these, like, kind of juicy looking heroes. But at the end of the day, it's a Chaos Knight. They're like jumping in to kill a CK who isn't really the big hero to go on. This CK is kind of playing like tanky frontliner with some utility, going for an Aghanim Scepter of all items. So I don't think you can expose yourself like that just for a CK kill. Like, the Spirit Breaker was suddenly in the middle of things and couldn't find a good charge target. It's it's something they've got to be a little bit careful about on the Lilgun side.
Is this the definition of a 4 Protect 1 draft? Like, look at how they're playing around the Medusa. You've got Invoker with, of course, Alacrity. Lion's going for the Mana Drain Restores Allies talent, which I don't think I've seen, to be honest. Aghanim's on the Chaos Knight with that little bit of invulnerability is almost... It could just be an X factor in these fights. And the Aghanim's, of course, on the Weaver.
Wow, that Lion talent is actually so sick. I didn't notice that until you brought it up. That is such a good point. That is something which, paired with the Medusa, sounds really freaking annoying. If the second he starts monitoring this Medusa, you can never focus this Medusa. 100%. You have to kill the Weaver and the Lion first. This supporting cast, they're the problem here in the late game.
And
I don't think the CK is. Yeah.
Why don't you feel like CK is one of those big issues?
Oh no, I'm saying I don't think he is necessarily. I think he's this hero you just kind of got to ignore.
Sure.
He can use the Ags, I guess, on the Medusa, but at the end of the day, you just got to clear out these illusions and right-click them down. I mean, part of the problem is they're all in on physical damage, and that's something that, you know, they ideally have some, like, magic AoE clear to deal with illusions, which is just not the case.
And I wonder if it's going to get to a stage where, like, an AC could be a consideration for Dire. Mizu currently has an Octarine queued up, so just more into the kind of spell casting aspect. But like you said, Radiant, they are all physical.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to itemize on the Dire side, and we'll see Lilgun slow this one right down. They're waiting like for a next Roshan, it feels like, at this point. It will be Ag's Refresher on Rosh number 4, but Nigma Galaxy, they've got all the tools they need to smoke out and try and take a fight. A Silver Edge now picked up on the Medusa.
They've got a decent ward nearby, Sanctity. It's already got the refraction. Polison's going to look to jump. Radiant, they're a little bit disconnected at the moment, but if they can burn the refraction and force an early BKB, but they've got to be cautious. An incredible Wukong command at the high ground of the stairs. They've been able to blow up Mizu. Yokem still standing hand in hand. There's the initial use of the time lapse, but now it's on cooldown, so they might be able to penalize this. The mana is gone. Medusa is about to die as well. Rapier on the deck, and finally, Lilgun. They've been able to break the code. No buybacks available. Mizu next on the agenda. That's a dieback for our Chaos Knight, and all of a sudden, this game's looking mighty over.
Creeps. The creeps on the throne. They GG out. It is over. That at some point, you know, you want to beat mega creeps, you have to go out and make that aggressive move, and it was just such a discombobulated fight coming in from Nigma Galaxy. The Invoker, I think he blinked onto the high. He was suddenly stuck on a cliff. I believe he blinked up there, and then he boots to travel out to a creep wave in the mid. Like, Alacrity completely fumbled that last fight a bit, leaving the Medusa kind of alone. Like, Alacrity's a level 24 Invoker. He just got to, you know, do some Invoker stuff in these fights. Lilgun, you know, they just waited patiently. They had the high ground advantage, and up until then, all those previous fights, they were the ones trying to break high ground. So they were like thrilled to finally take a team fight where they actually get the vision advantage, and they can kind of, you know, play things on their own terms. And unfortunately for In Your Dreams, it was a valiant effort from his Medusa and from just Nigma Galaxy as a whole. But there was just, you know, they needed every single fight to go perfectly. Once you get to that point, you're down mega creeps, you have to play flawlessly for the next like 30 minutes usually. Like, you can't beat mega creeps quickly. It's a slow process. And one bad fight is game over, and that's kind of what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, we've been priding Nigma Galaxy on just their late game team fighting execution, and it kind of felt like the train just suddenly halted there with that fight. They jumped in, TA had full refraction. They used Finger too early. Meteor tried to blow the refraction so they could burst it down, but we just saw when you were fighting in an area outside your base where Radiant had a little bit of space to move around with, that it was able to work out in their favor. And it was another fight where really the Wukongs had great value as well, where they could lay it down. Dusa couldn't get out of that AoE, but for Lilgun, I mean, that's... You were getting really worried there for a second, especially for the boys on Radiant. The fact that you're almost lost with a mega creeps advantage. Now you're a game advantage here. And to keep in mind, for Lilgun, this series doesn't mean as much for them. For Nigma Galaxy, this series means everything. If they can take this, then they are guaranteed to be promoted into Division 1. If they don't win the series, then they have to play tiebreakers versus Ragdoll. And now being down one map puts, you know, maybe the backs against the wall a little bit. But let's see if the experience comes into play, or if Lilgun are able to take it 2-0. We'll find out after the break.